It was on a day like almost any other day. Matthew was sitting at his tax collecting booth, making the big bucks. You see, Matthew was a tax collector. That meant he worked for the Roman government, collecting the taxes. It paid well, and the position of authority that he had, well, who is to say if he took a little bit more than was due? He had it pretty made. But you know what? People weren't very fond of tax collectors like Matthew because of the way they worked for the Roman government and for their habits of taking a little bit too much. But guess what? Today wasn't like any other day. Let's read Luke 5, verses 27 and 28 to see just what happened to Matthew.
After this, Jesus went out and saw a tax collector by the name of Levi, sitting at his tax booth. "Follow me," Jesus said to him, and Levi got up, left everything, and followed him.
Follow me and be my disciple. That's all Jesus had to say. He didn't have to coax or coerce Matthew. He just asked, and Matthew got up and left everything. He didn't prepare. It didn't say that he said long goodbyes. He didn't store everything carefully. He didn't make sure that all of his money was safely invested. No, it says he left everything to follow Jesus. He left everything. And maybe that's what all of us need to be ready to do too.
Oh, hi. You know, I really love lounging in my bathrobe, my pajama pants, and some slippers after a long day. You know, wouldn't it be great to be able to do that all the time? Not have to go to work or school, just chill in your pajama pants all day long, eat whatever you want. Sounds pretty good. I bet you a lot of you are doing that now. But for the long term, it wouldn't be very good for us. We would probably need to give that stuff up. And you know, sometimes God asks us to give things up to follow Him. You know, we probably won't ever have to give up everything like the disciples did in the Bible, but sometimes God does ask us to give up things to follow Him. Maybe give up some friendships that aren't very good for you, people that don't want you to follow Jesus. You may have to quit those friendships. Or maybe God's asking you to give up your computer time or some video game time because you're spending too much time on it, and maybe you need to be spending more time talking with God or building good friendships that you may not have enough time for whenever you're spending too much time on the TV or your video games. You know, let's look at Luke 14:33 and see what the Bible says about it. In the same way, those of you who do not give up everything you have cannot be my disciples. We must be willing to give up anything that God asks us to. Jesus gave up everything to give us the opportunity to follow Him. It's a very small thing for us to give up things that God asks us to. Why don't you pray this week for God to give you courage whenever He asks you to give things up, and give you the strength to do it as well.